The iliopsoas is actually composed of three separate muscles: the iliopsoas, the psoas major, and the psoas minor. The iliopsoas and the psoas major have their origins on the iliac crest and the lower six vertebrae, T12 through L5 respectively, and have a common insertion via a common tendon on the lesser trochanter of the femur. The psoas minor has its origin in the T12 and L1 vertebrae and has its insertion on the ascending ramus of the pubic bone. Since the psoas minor doesn't actually cross the hip joint, it doesn't have any effect on the hip. That's one of the reasons why some people don't consider the psoas minor to be part of the iliopsoas muscle, and they would call just the iliopsoas and the psoas major together, the iliopsoas muscle and the psoas minor as a separate muscle. As a whole, the iliopsoas flexes, adducts, and outwardly rotates the hip. And as we just said, those actions are accomplished by the iliopsoas and the psoas major, not the minor. And this should make sense. The iliopsoas crosses anteriorly of the hip joint, so it clearly is going to have a role in flexion. It crosses medially of the hip joint, so it's pretty easy to see how it would adduct. The outward rotation is a little trickier, but if we see that this attachment point is on the posterior side of the femur, on the lesser trochanter, then you can kind of see how if this muscle contracts, then because of the location of the attachment points and where the actual joint action is happening, you can see how if this contracted, it would actually rotate the hip outward. It would actually rotate it outward. But the primary action of the iliopsoas muscle is hip flexion. The psoas major and minor muscles can also flex the spine, laterally flex the spine to the same side. And they also have the capability of either flexing or hyperextending the spine, specifically the lumbar spine.